This is Tracy Matthewman here with Leanne Grechulk from healthygirl.com. Is it .com? I can never remember.
No, it's actually .net.
.net, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, from healthygirl.net. Welcome, Leanne. Thanks for speaking with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Leanne has just recently accomplished a pretty big feat, I would say. She became a top, what is it, a number one on, or you tell us what it is with your book.
Well, this is new, sort of a new area for me too. But now that Amazon has sort of built the monopoly of self-publishing, when you achieve for your category top three, you actually get the title of having an Amazon bestseller for your category.
Great.
News to me.
Cool. And so you accomplished that recently. So tell us a little bit about that whole journey with your book, when it started, and this whole promotion that you just went through, because I know that there'll be people listening to this call who are self-publishing a book or plan on it or have already, and some of your insights into that whole journey would be great.
Okay, well, I mean, many of you know, especially if you're listening and you're an entrepreneur, it's totally the age of personal branding, which is why I love that Tracy is helping us with social media and really teaching us about that. But it comes with, how do you want to represent yourself, and having different offerings that you can have to be able to get your message across and really build your vision. So having a book is a wonderful way. It's really the business card of today's business world. And I meet so many women who are in the middle of self-publishing. For me, it was a totally new, I had done ebooks before, but never published a book. And so what I did was, I'm all about partnering. I don't know anything about the book world, so I found a wonderful partner in Canada as well as in the US, Karen Roy and also Alicia Dunhams, who have expertise in self-publishing as well as Amazon campaigns. So instead of me reinventing the wheel, I was like, I'm just going to partner with people who know how to do it. Yeah. And they walked me through the whole process, and I made sure that I just felt, feel like you're in good hands. So I learned so much in a week of doing the actual publication. And then I also partnered with a PR expert in Toronto who is helping me with promoting it across Canada and the US.
Great. So tell us a little bit more about that process from really I don't want to say technical, but more logistic standpoint. So how does it work? When you say partner, does that mean you're hiring them, or does that mean you're a partner in it financially?
So it's a good point. So there's two different ways to do it. You can find people who that are good at certain areas that may be willing to, you could do almost like a cross promotion with, where you can sort of promote them once the book is launched and promote their coaching for them. I actually chose to hire one of my partners, and I chose to do a profit, like a royalty split with the other one, in terms of having a residual income for her for every book that was sold. Okay. So that was a great way, because I had to manage my cash flow. I didn't have $10,000 to, self-publish a book. So that was a great way for me to manage my cash flow, and then to be able to pay her a royalty on the back end.
Okay. And so I know, because I was a little bit involved in that process, but tell us a little bit about that. Was it one day that you had targeted to get on the bestsellers list? And tell us a little bit more about that short timeline and how that happened.
Right. So I sort of was a little bit too last minute. For any of you who are self-publishing a book, you really want to give yourself a month to set up a really good Amazon campaign. And what I learned was, it's all about how you tag your book on Amazon. So what I found with my book, because I dealt with a company in the US, was they chose the tags for my book on Amazon, and they weren't really well categorized. If you want to achieve bestseller on Amazon, the number one most important thing is that the keywords are picked and your categories are picked right, like women in business, home-based business. So I had to actually rework that, and so I didn't have a lot of time. So instead of a 1 month campaign, I did a 1 day campaign, which was crazy. It was like stay awake for 24 hours, but it was so much fun. But for any of you thinking about doing it, I would highly encourage you to really promote your book for a good month on Amazon.
Okay, and you can still achieve that level doing it throughout a month? Okay, it doesn't have, so once you hit a certain, I guess, within the top 3 of the category? So once you hit there, then you're considered a bestseller.
Yes,
so
you got it.
So what you did is you squished all that promotion into a day?
Well, a little over a day, but the actual, probably close to a week.
Okay.
But the actual email blasts and online activity was 24 hours.
Okay.
So it's
Wow.
actually quite fun. I encourage everybody to go for it. It's wild. It's
Yeah.
really cool. It really teaches you how social media, how much power it has today.
Really? Well, tell us a little bit more about that. How did it help your book sales?
Well, I mean, through split screen interviews like this, we
Hmm.
did these every hour. We did
Wow.
we took draws for people who purchased the book every hour. We had a whole bunch of partners across the US and Canada that are quite influential that were promoting it to their database the same day, all at the same time. So it was almost like this synergistic campaign that was all happening every hour something was planned.
Hmm.
And then we would also kind of give Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook updates all at the same time.
Right. And
So it's pretty cool.
yeah, I know that because I was somewhat involved, that you guys even provided some of the tweets and some of the Facebook suggestions and where we should
Yes.
link to. And so you guys made it really easy for us who were promoting your book. So that's a really important thing too. So it wasn't really planned to talk about this, but you brought it up. And I know that you actually have some pretty close relationships with some pretty influential people, and you just mentioned that you had that. So tell us a little bit more about how did you develop those relationships? Because I mean, it for some people it's like, oh my God, that person will never talk to me, and how
Yeah.
did you go about that? Because you've done a very very good job of it.
Well, I think for me, I was talking to one of my colleagues yesterday, and we were just thinking we just expect that they're going to respond. So I've used Facebook actually to meet all the people that I've met. Most of them with what books or authors has all been on Facebook, and I found that either they get back to you or their admin does.
Right.
And then I do my best to try to get 5 minutes on the phone with them,
Hmm.
and also find out how I can help them. So if they have an upcoming event or a book, and they're usually so grateful, and usually they end up being kind of strategic partners for a long period of time, for years.
Cool.
So I love Facebook for that. You can find anybody.
I know. It's. I've found a few people, and It's funny because I've used social media to start those relationships too with people that originally or initially you think, oh my God, like that person's so much farther ahead than me. They'll never spend 5 minutes with me. But one of the things I learned lately is to treat them like a peer as opposed to being like a groupie or a fan because
Yes,
you're going to get a little bit more, I guess maybe respect in that way. I don't know if respect is the right word, but
I totally
they'll
agree.
look at you differently. Yeah. Okay. So you've done this Amazon bestsellers with your book. So tell us a little bit about when you first started in your career and how it transitioned to the business that you're in today and that whole journey because I think it's interesting and I think a lot of people might look at your story and think, wow, I want to do that. So tell
Yeah.
us a bit about that.
Well, I think for me, I kind of felt like I was having like a 20-year-old midlife crisis because I was doing quite well in corporate. And I mean, if for externally, it looked like I had everything together. And I talk about this in my book. I was married, I had a great home, nice job. But for me, I just didn't feel fulfilled. And I felt that, this just doesn't feel aligned with who I am. And I was afraid to make a big transition, but I did it anyway because for me, my philosophy is always you only pass through once, and why live in fear? So I really just took a jump, and while my boss was on vacation at Johnson and Johnson, I pretty much quit my job, and like. I went home and I was like, I can't believe I just did that. What am I going to do now? But it
So you
kind of
did it with not like a failback plan right then and there,
I mean,
or
I did. I I think I knew I would stumble upon something. I did have some income streams coming in, so it wasn't like I was making $0. I also taught Pilates part time in my first year, so that I had some cash flow. You have to be able to cover your bills, and
yeah,
some people will do that without a plan and not being action oriented, and they get themselves in major financial trouble.
right,
So I don't encourage that. I always encourage having an income stream starting, so you have a plan if you're going to do something that extreme,
right,
because you'll make yourself sick if you're stressed about finances.
yeah.
So from there, I pretty much, that's sort of how it started. I had never been to a networking event. I was always just going to corporate events. So for me, my first networking event was probably one of the scariest days of my life. Walking into this room of like 300 people, being very shy, and I just hung out at the buffet. I just, and they're all passing business cards and they know what to say to each other. And I was just like, whoa, I felt like I was put in a Shark Tank.
I've had that exact experience when I first started too.
So it's great. And I had a wonderful friend and mentor who sort of held my hand, who's a master networker, who kind of took me under her wing. And the more I did, the more comfortable I got. I joined a networking group that met weekly just to practice and to meet people because everyone I knew was in corporate. So when I started, I felt kind of like an orphan. So, just having, you got to take it inch by inch. So that was sort of my transition, and I think it takes a good 2 years to feel comfortable with your transition.
Right. Okay, and so then from there, what did you do next? Like, how did that lead to where you like? Where's the gap from today to today?
Okay, so from there, I chose to I looked at a couple of vehicles that I could use to pursue my vision, because one of the things I find when I'm working with entrepreneurs is a lot of them have a vision, but a lot of the times it's not clear. So they say yes to everything and they're just running around all over the place. And that's what I see frequently. So I think one of the things that's very important is to be crystal clear on your vision so that you don't say yes to everything. You're strategic on what you say yes to, partnerships you do. And so I was quite clear on that. And I looked at 2 to 3 vehicles in terms of income stream that were aligned with my long-term vision. And so one of them was coaching, which I love doing, and mentoring is one of my passions. One of them was product sales, so a book, and in the future probably I'll be doing some type of, I'm looking at doing maybe a 2-day course. That's something that will probably come in the next couple of years. And direct selling. So those were the 3 that I felt were aligned with who I was and with my skills. And over time, I sort of built the little babies over time.
Yeah.
And just was consistent, was hungry, was not afraid to ask for help, and partnered as much as possible.
Great. Okay, so tell us about healthygirl.net.
So Healthy Girl is sort of my vision on a website. And it's the things that I feel are important to my own personal health and development, and also the messages that I want to mentor others on. So health, happiness, and wealth, a holistic approach to leadership is really what the website's all about. And then what we've done is selected some people that we feel are very influential and experts in certain areas, and we've brought them on as Healthy Girl coaches, so that if we do get clients that are interested in nutrition, spiritual coaching, fitness coaching, we will select a coach that is a good fit for them and they're able to get mentoring.
Okay, so that's the main service offering from that site then, if I was looking for any of those coaching in any of those areas.
Coaching, information, events, and then obviously any services or webinars, things like that we do.
Okay.
We all post those as well.
Okay, do you have any events coming up?
We do have one actually this Thursday, which is, oh my gosh, tomorrow. We have one called Enlightened Entrepreneurship in Oakville, Ontario at eSpot.
Okay.
And our next big event is going to be in Calgary on February 15th.
Wow.
Healthy Girls doing a nutrition seminar at Hotel Arts for anybody listening who lives in Calgary.
Awesome.
And the website has all the information.
Okay, great. So what's next for you? I mean, you mentioned that maybe a 2-day course.
Yep.
Coming up in the next year or two. Anything else on the horizon for you?
We're actually putting together, so our next book is going to be a little bit more health focused. So I will always alternate between, because there's such a parallel between health and wealth. But so we're focusing more on the health side, and we've selected about 50 of influential people in the public eye. Yeah. That are going to be contributing to this book, and we're going to be launching it probably, I would say, about March, so stay tuned for that.
Great, awesome. Okay, so a lot of people listening to this may be struggling or may be looking for ideas to help them grow in their business or just in their personal life. What are 1 or 2 key things that you have maybe weren't so good at but you have come to master that you can suggest that people really focus on to help them succeed?
Well, most importantly is to have ask for help is number 1. Don't be afraid. I think sometimes we get attached to our egos. Who cares? I learned to be so good at asking for help that I never feel nervous or intimidated or like I don't know anything. I just ask. Number two would be mentorship. Find somebody who is 2 to 3 levels ahead of where you are
Mm-hmm.
and find a way to work with them either by helping them with something, paying them for coaching, if they have CDs and if maybe they're not personally available, but they've got a CD program. I've done that every year. I pick a new mentor
Mm-hmm.
and I find a way to work with them. So make it happen.
Okay,
That's
awesome.
what that's one of the things I always recommend. No excuses, just make it happen.
So get a mentor. Okay.
Or yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
My
spending some
pleasure.
time with me. And again, just for the listeners and the viewers, the website is healthygirl.net. I'll actually put that up on the screen in case some for whatever the reason the audio doesn't work right. But thanks, Leanne, for checking in with me today and sharing your story. And I wish you all the best of success in the future. And stay
Thanks
in
so much,
touch. We'll,
Tracy.
we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.